The Book of Ephesians. Shaul, an emissary of Yahushua Mashiach by the desires of Elohim, to the set apart ones who are in Ephesus, and through the Mashiach Yahushua. Favor to you and peace from Elohim, our Father and Master Yahushua Mashiach. Baruch be the Elohim and the Father of our Master Yahushua Mashiach, who was Baruch us with every spiritual Baruchs in heavenlies in Mashiach, even as he shows us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be set apart and blameless before him in love, having previously ordained us to adoption as sons through Yahushua Mashiach to himself, according to the good pleasure of his desire, to the praise of esteem of his favor, with which he favored us in the beloved, in whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of trespasses according to the riches of his favor, which he had lavished on us in all wisdom and insight, having made known to us the secret of his desire, according to his good pleasure, which he supposed in him, to administer at the completion of time to gather together in one all in the Mashiach, both which are in heavens and which are in earth in him, in whom also we did obtain inheritance, being previously ordained according to the purpose of him, working all matters according to the counsel of his desire, for us to be the praise of his esteem, those having first trusted in Mashiach, in whom you also have heard the word of truth, the good news of your deliverance, in whom also having believed, you were sealed with the set apart spirit of promise, who is the pledge of our inheritance until the redemption of purchased possession, to the praise of his esteem. For this reason I too, having heard of your belief in the Master Yahushua and your love for all the set apart ones, do not cease giving thanks for you, making mention of you in my prayers, that the Elohim of our Master Yahushua Mashiach, the Father of esteem, will give you a spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of him, the eyes of your understanding being enlightened, so that you know what is the expectation of his calling, and what are the riches of his esteem, of his inheritance in the set apart ones, and what is the exceeding greatness of his power towards us who are believing, according to the working of his mighty strength, which he wrought in the Mashiach when he raised him from death and seated him at his right hand in the heavenlies, far above all rule and authority and power and mystery and every name that is named, not only in this age but also in that which is to come. And under his feet all, and gave him to be head over all to the assembly, which is his body, the completeness of him who fills all in all. And you were dead in trespasses and sins, in which you once walked according to the course of this world, according to the rule of authority of the air, of the spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience, among whom also we all once lived in the lusts of our flesh, doing the desires of our flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, as also the rest. But Elohim, who is rich in compassion, because of his great love with which he loved us, even when you were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Mashiach. By the favor you have been saved, and raised us up together, and made us sit together in heavenlies in the Mashiach Yahusha, in order to show in the coming ages the exceeding riches of his favor and kindness towards us in Mashiach Yahusha. For by favor you have been saved, through belief, and that not of yourself. It is a gift of Elohim. It is not by works, so that no one should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Mashiach Yahusha, into good works which Elohim prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Therefore remember that you once nations in the flesh were called uncircumcision by what is called the circumcision made in the flesh by hands. That at that time you were without Mashiach, excluded from the citizenship of Yisrael, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no expectation and without Elohim in the world. But now in Mashiach Yahusha, you once were far off, have been brought near by the blood of the Mashiach. For he is our peace, was made both one, and having broken down the partition of the barrier, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, the Torah of the commandments in dogma, so as to create himself one renewed man from the two, thus making peace, and to completely restore to favor both of them into Elohim in one body through the stake, having destroyed the enmity by it, and having come, he brought us good news, peace to you who were, peace to those near. Because through him we both have access to the Father by one Spirit. So then you are no longer strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens of the set-apart ones and members of the household of Elohim, having been built upon the foundation of emissaries and prophets, Yahushua Mashiach himself, being chief cornerstone, in whom all the building being joined together grows into the set-apart dwelling place in Yahuwah, in whom you also are being built together in a dwelling of Elohim in the Spirit. Because of this, I am the prisoner of Yahushua Mashiach on behalf of you nations. If indeed you have heard of the administration of the favor of Elohim that was given to me for you, that my revelation has made known to me the secret as I wrote before briefly. I am reading this, then you are able to understand my insight into the secret of Mashiach, which was not made known to the sons of men in other generations, as it has now been revealed by the Spirit to his set-apart emissaries and prophets, the nations to be co-heirs united in the same body and partakers together in the promise in Mashiach through the good news, of which I become a servant according to the gift of the favor of Elohim given to me, according to the working of his power, to me, the every least of all the set-apart ones. This favor was given to bring the good news of the unsearchable riches of Mashiach among the nations, and to make all see how this secret is administrated, which for ages past has been hidden in Elohim, who created all through Yahushua Mashiach. So that now, through the assembly, the many-sided wisdom of Elohim might be known to the principalities and authorities in the heavens, according to the everlasting purpose which he made in Mashiach Yahusha our Master, in whom we have boldness and access with reliance through belief in him. I pray therefore that you do not lose heart at my pressures on your behalf, which is our esteem. For this reason I bow my knees to the Father of our Master Yahushua Mashiach, from whom all fatherhood in the heavens and earth is named, in order that he might give you, according to the riches of his esteem, by power, to be strengthened in the inner man through his Spirit, that the Mashiach might dwell in your hearts through belief, having become rooted and grounded in love, in order that you might be strengthened to firmly grasp with all the set apart ones what is the width and length and depth and height, to know the love of Mashiach which surpasses knowledge, in order that you might be filled to all the completeness of Elohim, and to him who is able to exceedingly above what we ask or think, according to the power that is working in us. To him be the esteem in the assembly by Mashiach Yahusha into all generations forever and ever. Let it be. I call upon you, therefore, I, the prisoner of a master, to walk worthily of the calling with which you were called, with all humility and weakness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, being eager to guard the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace, one body and one Spirit, as you also were called in one expectation of our calling, one Master, one belief, one immersion, one Elohim and Father of all, who is above all, and through all, and in you all. But to each one of us favor is given according to the measure of the gift of Mashiach. That is why it says, when he went up on high, he led captivity captive, and gave gifts to men. But what does he went up mean, except that he also first went down into the lower parts of the earth? He who went down is also the one who went up far above all heavens to fill all. And he himself gave some as emissaries, and some as prophets, and some as evangelists, and some as shepherds and teachers, for the perfecting of the set apart ones, to the work of service, to a building up of the body of Mashiach, until you all come to the united of the belief and of the knowledge of the Son of Elohim, to the perfect man, to the measure of the stature of the completeness of Mashiach, so that we should no longer be children, tossed and borne about by every wind of teaching, by the trickery of men and cleverness, into the craftiness of landing astray, but maintain the true in love. We grow up in all respects in him who is the head, Mashiach, from whom the entire body, joining and knit together by what every joint supplies, according to the working by which each part of does its share, causes growth of the body for the building up of itself in love. So this I say and witness in the Master, that you should no longer walk as nations walk, in futility of their mind, having been darkened in their understanding, having been estranged from the life of Elohim, because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the hardness of their hearts, who having become callous have given themselves up to indecency, to work all uncleanness with greatness. But you have not so learned Mashiach, if indeed you have heard him and were taught by him, as true is in Yahusha. that you put off with regard to your former behavior the old man being corrupted according to the desires of the deceit, and to be renewed in spirit of your mind, and that you put on the renewed man which was created according to Elohim in the righteousness and set apartness of the truth. Therefore, having put off the false, speak true, each one with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. Be wroth, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your rage, nor give place to the devil. Let him who stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands what is good, so that he has somewhat to share with those in need. Let no corrupt word come out of your mouth, but only such as is good for the use of building up, so as to impart what is pleasant to the hearers. And do not grieve the set apart spirit of Elohim, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and displeasure and uproar and slander be put away from you, along with all evil. And be kind towards one another, tender-hearted, giving one another, as Elohim also forgave you in Mashiach. Become them imitators of Elohim as beloved children, and walk in love as Mashiach has loved us, and give himself for us, a gift and an offering to Elohim for sweet-smelling fragrance. But whoring and all uncleanness, or greed of gain, let it not be named among you as is proper among the set apart ones, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor coarse jesting, which are not fitting, but rather thanksgiving. For this you know that no one who whores or unclean one, nor one greedy of gain who is an idolater, has any inheritance in the reign of the Mashiach Elohim. Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of this the wrath of Elohim comes upon the sons of disobedience. Therefore do not become partakers with them, for you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Master. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is well-pleasing to the Master. And have no fellowship with the fruitless works of darkness, but rather convict them. For it is a shame even to speak of what is done by them in secret. But all matters being convicted are manifested by light, for whatsoever is manifested is light. That is why he says, Wake up, you sleep. Wake up, you who sleep, and arise from the dead, and Mashiach shall shine on you. See then that you walk exactly, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are wicked. So then do not be foolish. Understand what the desires of Yahuwah is, and do not be drunk with wine, in which is loose behavior, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking each other in psalms and songs of praise and spiritual songs, and singing and striking the strings in your hearts to the Master, giving thanks always for all the Elohim, the Father, in the name of our Master Yahushua Mashiach, subjecting yourselves to each other in the fear of Elohim. Wives, subject yourselves to your own husbands as to the Master, because the husband is the head of the wife, as also the Mashiach is the head of the assembly, and he is Savior of the body. But as the assembly is subject to the Mashiach, so also let the wives be to their own husbands in every respect. Husbands, love your wives, as Mashiach also did love the assembly and give himself for it, in order to set it apart and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, in order to present it to himself a splendid assembly, not having a spot or sprinkle or any of this sort, but that his might be set apart and blameless. In this, why husbands ought to love their own wife as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself, for no one ever ate his own flesh, but feeds and cherishes it, as also the master does the assembly. Because we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother, be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This secret is great, but I speak concerning Mashiach and assembly. Whoever you two, everyone, let each one love his own wife as himself, and let the wife see that she fears her husband. Children, obey your parents in the master, for this is right. Respect your father and mother, which is the first commandment which promise, in order that it might be well with you and you might live long on the earth. And you fathers, do not provoke your children, but bring them up in instruction and admonition of the master. Servants, obey your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in sincerity of heart, as to the Mashiach, not with high service, as man pleasers, but a servant of Mashiach, doing the desires of Elohim from the inner self, rendering service with pleasure as to the master, and do not to men, knowing that whatsoever good anyone does, he shall receive the same from the master, whatsoever is a slave or free. And masters, do the same to them, refrain from threatening, knowing that your own master also is in the heavens, and there is no partiality with him. For the rest, my brothers, be strong in the master, and in the mightiness of his strength. Put on the complete armor of Elohim, for you do have power to stand against the schemes of the devil. Because we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against authorities, against the world rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual matters of weakness in the heavenlies. Because of this, take up the complete armor of Elohim, so that you have power to withstand in the wicked day, and having done all to stand. Stand then, having girded your waist with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having fitting your feet with the preparation of the good news of peace. Above all, having taken up the shield of belief, which you shall have power to quench all the burning arrows of the wicked one. Take also the helmet of deliverance, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Elohim, praying all times with all prayers and the supplication in spirit, watching in all perseverance and supplication for all the set apart ones. Also for we, that the word might be given to me in the opening of my mouth, to be bold in making known the secrets of the good news, for which I am an envoy in chains, that in it might speak boldly as I should speak. Now in order that you also may know about me, how I am going, Tychicus, a beloved brother and trustworthy servant in the master, shall make all matters known to you, whom I did send to you for this same purpose, so that you know about us, and might encourage your hearts. Peace to the brothers, and love with belief from Elohim the Father and the Master Yahushua Mashiach. Favor be with all those who love our Master Yahushua Mashiach. In the kindly, let it be. Hallelujah. This is the Book of Ephesians. Praise be Yahuwah and our Master Yahushua Mashiach, name above all names, given to men to be saved. There is power in the name of Yahushua. There is power in the name of Yahuwah. Hallelujah.